Well, you join me just as the Ecogen 2011 conference and exhibition has now just closed, and it's been an extremely interesting experience for me to come and get a slightly different perspective on renewables development down here in Australia compared to the UK. And there's just two things I wanted to mention to you about the presentations that have happened today. The first one was a presentation by Mike Earhart from Citigroup, where he's flown out from New York to really try and understand what's happening in renewables in Australia, because Citigroup as an institution is absolutely committed to investing in renewables. And I don't say that lightly, and bear in mind this is a financial institution that's trading maybe $3 trillion a day. It's probably got 200-300 times as much lending out there in the world than the World Bank is. So this is a big financial institution. They've accepted the science, they see the need to invest in renewable energy, and it was very good to hear such a big institution actually committed as clearly as he was. But there was one thing that he said that I thought was really worth sharing, because in Europe we get a very, very clear idea about what we think is going on in China, and we see China as a nation that's really heavily investing in lots of high carbon technologies and energy generation, and perhaps paying lip service to renewables. None of it, according to Mike. What he was saying was that the Chinese are genuinely sincere in their approach to shifting from heavy carbon based energy generation across to renewables. But what he said they're trying to do is, he said they're trying to generate sufficient profit in a 30 to 40 year period to actually fund the shift from carbon-based technologies across carbon-heavy based technologies across to renewables. And he said that in his view, given the level of investment which has happened in China on renewables, which is by far outweighs any other country in the world, he says that they could actually do it. And how embarrassing will that be in 20 to 30 years time if the Chinese have actually shifted 60 to 70% of their energy requirements across to renewables, and we're still languishing around about 20 to 25%. So we need to get our act together and get started. It was interesting, the second presentation that was given by Senator Christine Milne, who's a very well-known speaker on environmental issues, and she's Deputy Leader of the Greens in the federal government here in Australia. And she clearly is becoming increasingly frustrated at the lack of development of renewables and the delivery of renewables down here. But she was also given some clear steers on what should be happening globally in order to try and push renewables forward. And she really put a shot across the bows of the industry here, saying you cannot rely upon governments to deliver the kind of framework to get renewables delivered at the level that's required. And so she was really saying, as an industry, you've got to get your act together and get out there and push governments down the road towards creating the right environments for renewable energy to be delivered. And I think that's something that we really could bear in mind back in the UK, where on occasions I do feel as though we're being a bit too timid in our approach to our relationships with government when we're looking to try and deliver renewable energy. Now, we know that we've also got the introduction of the localism bill and the new national planning policy framework in the UK, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do to the apparent government's desire to say yes to development. Now, George Osborne has pinned his colours to the mast quite clearly in saying that sustainable development should be approved unless there's really good reasons why it shouldn't be delivered. Well, time will tell whether the NPPF and the localism bill is going to allow the level of development that's required for us to deliver the amount of renewables that we want. So it's been a very interesting time down here. We're writing a couple of feature articles in the trade press, which will go into a little bit more detail, and we'll tweet and put some information on our blogs about those particular feature articles as well, if you're interested in more details. And I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. It's been quite an enjoyable time down here, and I think I'm off for a very well-earned can of Foster's. Thank you.